So tonight, in partnership with Enough is Enough, we will have a quick chat with Vahyala Kwaga. He's the head of Open Government and Institutional Partnership at Budget Nigeria. He'll be discussing the fiscal sustainability of the, of course, Nigerian state, and he's joined us via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope I did not murder your
Vahyala.
name. Vahyala Kwaga. How are you? Good evening.
Thank you so much. Good evening to you in the studio. And I'm used to people murdering my name, so it's fine.
Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice. So how do I pronounce your name? Sounds like
Vahyala.
Vahyala. Okay.
Vagala.
Vahyala. Right? Oh, sugar. Are we having challenges with your network? Are you with us, Vahyala?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. I couldn't hear you. Okay, so quickly, let's run through what we have from Enough is Enough tonight. I saw a write-up around the state of states, what is happening within the healthcare sector, what is happening amongst, what's it called, our revenue growth and fiscal performance, expenditure patterns and our debt challenges within the country, human capital investment, healthcare. We talked about also prioritizing financial responsibility and transparency. Can you quickly run us through this conversation, because we have like literally 5 minutes?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I think the conversations around states optimizing their revenue, optimizing their debt management, optimizing the way they spend money is critical for Nigeria. A lot of the conversations we have as Nigerians tend to be focused on the federal government, oftentimes ignoring the state to some extent. Now, the State of States report is Budget's flagship publication that evaluates the fiscal viability, the fiscal performance of the Nigerian subnationals. And we've had this report for, I think, about 9 to 10 years now. And one of the key things that we've been able to bring to a national conversation is the viability of states as regards how much money they are able to earn, how well they're able to spend the money that they earn, and how well they're able to manage their debts, among other things. And this year, we have seen some considerable growth in terms of total revenue. However, we've not seen a commensurate growth of internally generated revenue across board. Now, there's a difference between total revenue and internally generated revenue. Total revenue includes what states get in terms of aids and grants and monies they get from the federation accounts.
Yeah.
While IGR is the money that they are able to
generate within the state.
Now,
Go ahead,
yes,
please.
That's correct. And what we've been able to discover for the 2023 fiscal year, as the report was launched in 2024, is that 32 Nigerian states out of 36 relied on federal allocations for at least 55% of their total revenue. Now, that means that nearly all the states in Nigeria needed the federal government to support at least half of their spending. Now, this really speaks to the fiscal viability of states. If the states did not have federal allocations, would they be able to pay salaries? Would they be able to pay for capital expenditure? Would they be able to exist as a viable, entity? The answer, is probably best left for Nigerians who are watching. Again, looking at debts, simply because of the devaluation of the naira from around 800 naira to around 1,000, I think 1,004, total state debt increased by 2.7 trillion naira. Now, of course, like I started out by saying, there has been a growth in total revenue for states, but this has largely been due to monies from the federation accounts. So this report is really showing Nigerians that we need to pay serious attention to what state governors are doing. How well has your state optimized its tax collection? How well is your state providing energy? One of the conversations that we have often in Nigeria is electricity generation. But the past administration and the current administration have actually passed legislation to allow states to generate, to transmit, and to distribute electricity. And it's a shame that we are still struggling with supplying electricity, even at a time when states are allowed to do so legally. So there are several things that citizens need to ask their state governors, ranging from how well they're able to provide infrastructure that supports business growth and the sustenance of business, and how well they're able to optimize the growth of their internally generated revenue taxes, which are one of them.
So sad. Go ahead.
I want to ask because I'm one of those people who keep advocating that they should stop the creation of more states. And there are people who are continuously asking for states to be created. As we speak right now, like you just said, states are very happy to go cap in hand to the federal government every month and to get monies. And that means that they don't want to look within themselves to see how viable they can be on their own. But how soon can we start asking that we return to looking within ourselves to see how we can develop? I mean, because like I always say, we sit on a gold mine. All the states across the federation have some mineral resources that we can, explore. Why do you think that as citizens we're always, pointing fingers at the federal government and forgetting that we have state governors who run these regions?
I mean, you've asked several questions in one. I wish you had more time for me to really speak quite elaborately on the issues you've raised. But one reason is that the nature of our politics, the nature of the system that we borrowed from the Americans, it tends to arrogate power to the center. And essentially what we even run in Nigeria is more of a unitary system and less of a federal system. If you look at the structure of our constitution, there are several components that are left for the federal government, as opposed to them being given to the states. Electricity, was one of them before. It makes no sense why a nation as large as Nigeria, with as many states as we have, still had the federal government, controlling electricity, its transmission, generation, and distribution. So Nigerians need to gradually look to disempowering the federal government and moving a lot of the items from the exclusive list to at least to the concurrent list, or even to the residual list, which are things that local governments should handle. In other countries, security, infrastructure, public works are handled by local governments.
Absolutely.
And it's very timely that, courts in their recent judgments, gave this order or directed monies to be given directly to the local governments. I think it's an experiment that we need to see through, and we need to empower and strengthen local governments and really disempower or weaken the center and give states more responsibilities and more powers.
So I think, Viola, we would need to bring you back to have this conversation, because there's so much to unpack,
on the state of states,
on the state of states. And again, to see that recent times, we've been seeing a lot of EFCC moves on state governments, right? So maybe we would see some level of accountability or transparency when it comes to how they even the allocation that they even get from the government, how they are, how they're spending those funds, and how they are allocating different funds across different sectors within their state, and of course even their internally generated revenue as well. How are they expending those ones as well? So I would really, really indulge that if you can, give us another date so we have a full 55 minutes conversation on this. I would personally want to have that conversation with you, because there's so much to unpack on this topic. But do you have a final thought to just quickly share, then we can run off?
Yes, thank you so much. I'll be delighted to appear again on the program. My final thoughts is the primary institution that can and should and is empowered to hold state governors to account, unfortunately, is one that has been neglected for many reasons. One of which is, at the state level, this institution is not financially independent. And the institution I'm referring to is one, that has been thought of by, the men of old. The founding fathers of the United States decided that it would be wrong to strengthen an executive with the powers of the king. So they brought about the idea of separation of powers. And they designed an assembly to stand as a check against arbitrary use of that power. So the state houses of assembly are meant to be the ones
to checkmate,
to account. Precisely. Unfortunately, because of the design of our governance system, many state houses of assembly are in the pockets of the governors. I mean, it's down as bad as, the monies used to provide the administration and management has to be approved, has to be proposed first, and they're not first line charges, which means it would not come out, the money would not come out automatically. So our conversation really should go towards empowering and providing autonomy and independence to state houses of assembly and, releasing them from that vice grip of state governors.
All right. Thank you so much. I would ask the producers to just reach out to you so we can secure a better timing for this conversation. But thank you so much for your time. All right, so that was in partnership with Enough is Enough. I mean, we have amazing guests that they bring on the show for us, to always dissect issues. And the goal is to ensure that citizens are engaged. So you know what is happening, and you start to demand for what is rightfully yours.